How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. I hear Michael laughing in the background because apparently I'm just too damn good at making intros to these videos. But anyways, we are back here once again, and we were talking about social media usage and having a good conversation on that. And I mentioned before the break that kids getting judged for what they post on it at a later time, and I wanted to go ahead and get your guys' response if you had one to what I said in part two. Whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Go, Kasey, go!
Go ahead, Kasey. Okay. Yeah, go, Kasey.
Tell her how it is. Tell her how it is.
Okay.
Say the truth. Expose the truth to the people.
Michael. Okay, so for me,
Go
like,
back.
I think you, Michael, he's making it very hard for me to speak. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
but,
good.
I don't know if either of you, I know Aleeyah isn't, but Aaron, are you on Twitter?
Yes, I have. Actually, I have two accounts on there, and that's actually funny you bring that up because one account I mainly used for when I was on the Hornet, State Hornet, Sac State newspaper. I could kind of post stuff on there, and I also post like professional wrestling stuff on there as I'm a fan of that. On my other Twitter, I kind of use that for just everything else and random thoughts and everything. And then on both Twitters, I'll kind of post my work that I do.
So are you like on? Okay, so you go on it for more of like a school and like work stuff, and not like just to like be on it, kind of like Instagram kind of thing.
I would say that I, outside of maybe posting stuff on like professional wrestling as I'm a fan, I would say outside of that, just general thoughts, I might tweet like one thing a week.
Okay, because I was like the complete opposite last year. Twitter was like the one social media that I could absolutely not keep anymore. Only because people on there are so negative, and there was this big thing at the time, like the cancel culture, where they're pulling up people's like old tweets from like 5 years ago, or like old clips from YouTube videos of them like saying like racial slurs or something from when they were like 13. And to me, it was ridiculous because I agree as well that you shouldn't pull up stuff from a long time ago and use it against people now, because people change so much in years. Let alone like, I don't know, like 5-7 years. So when you're going and pulling up like someone who's really old now, and then something from when they were teenagers, like something stupid that they said, I think it's really ridiculous. And every day there would be something new about someone digging up someone's old tweets and like them like canceling like YouTubers, and stuff. And I used to be like that kind of person though too. Like I'd kind of hop on what everyone else was saying, be like, yeah, like they said this, like we shouldn't, give them a platform. They don't deserve this. But over time, I realized that's a really toxic way to encounter people with stuff they did in the past, because obviously people make mistakes and they learn, and you can't expect people to grow, if you're pulling up stuff from the past and putting it on them now, because it's just, I don't know, there's always room for growth for people. I don't believe people should be canceled or lose their platforms because of something that they said, like 10 years ago. I don't know. It was a ridiculous time. Like, I had to delete Twitter completely. Like, I didn't even delete the app. I deleted my actual account because I just could not stand seeing everyone attack everyone all the time, So, yeah.
So, and then Aleeyah, go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with her, and also, I was going to say, what we were just talking about, I'm going to say that, like, I feel like especially it happens in the media and the press where, like, they always try to find dirt on somebody, so they have to go back 10 years ago just to start a controversy. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's super ridiculous.
Yeah, and no, it's a way, unfortunately, and that goes along. It's fun, with media in general and technology, is since everything is moving to a more online outlet and not as much newspaper. The goal now is obviously to get more clicks from the other news site, and that's where the competition lies. That's where the money lies, and so people are going to try to find things that are going to get them clicks. Well, obviously, bringing up something from the past of somebody who is a very famous person, that would do so, and that's happened with many athletes who have been drafted or have gone into like the college draft and then end up going into the NFL. And I'm not going to say every single one of them is unjustified, because there's a few of the cases where the media has dug up something and the person was just a terrible person, like Jameis Winston and other cases, for example. But most of the time it is very unfortunate. And I've talked about, I'm glad you brought up cancel culture, Kasey, because it's something I've talked about time and time again on this show with various guests, and my show called the Liberty Hour. I think that people should be allowed to say what they want to say. Obviously, people can be taught, there's, there's negatives to certain things that will be said and everything, and people should learn to respect every single type of group or person. But at the same time, it's just a difference of opinion for most part, and people, we should be allowed to hear people's opinions, and bringing stuff out from the past is something that's very negative and makes it kind of gets people riled up to want to boycott a single individual instead of the actual issue at hand. And one other thing I wanted to go ahead and say on this. Sorry, go ahead. What's up?
Preach.
One other thing I wanted to say on this real quick before we get into the next issue. I talked about since we're still on the issue of social media, I discussed Elon Musk for a completely different issue last week. But this week he talked about this and this was published by Fox Business earlier today. Tweets dire warning on AI and social media. So Elon Musk warned that advanced artificial intelligence will be used to manipulate social media if it hasn't been already. Quote, if advanced AI beyond basic bots hasn't been applied to manipulate social media, it won't be long before it is. Musk, whose automaking company has invested heavily in self-driving vehicle technology, which we will get into here in a moment as well, has long predicted the dangers of artificial intelligence, even saying that a single firm that develops godlike superintelligence might achieve world domination. This is stuff he has talked about on multiple podcasts before as well, such as on the Joe Rogan podcast. Quote, at least when there is an evil dictator, that human is going to die. Musk said in the documentary, Do You Trust Your Computer? For artificial intelligence, there will be no death. It will live forever, and then you would have an immortal dictator from which we could never escape in all of humanity. And that's something that is very scary to think about, but it's something that is quite possible to be coming sooner than later.
This is just too far, man. That's so ridiculous.
And then there was actually, I forgot, there was one other question that I had before I got into the next issue, and that had to do with getting back to, full circle on this issue. The reason I brought it up, because, Aleeyah, you deleted Instagram last week, and I wanted to get your thoughts, and you don't have to, if it's too personal, you obviously don't have to talk about it, but what was the main reason or why you chose to take a break or delete it for now?
Okay, well, are we really getting into this? Okay. So, well, I've always been on social media, obviously. Over the years, I've been deleting them slowly, one by one. Like, I haven't had Snapchat in a while. And then Instagram was the one that, I couldn't delete, because I was just like, this is my, promoting my music and this and that. So I always loved Instagram, and I could never delete it. Like, I'd go, a month without using it, but I'd still have it, just to, know that it's there. It's weird. I had a weird attachment to it. So when I finally did delete it, it was, the most freeing thing I've ever felt. And then it makes me kind of sad that I was so, into it. And then hearing this Elon Musk crap, I'm like, oh, my goodness, I don't even need it anymore. I don't know. I just deleted it because it was a bad habit, not just, looking at it, but I would find myself looking at it all the time. I'd be wasting so much time looking at the same things over and over. And then I was actually listening to this podcast before, and someone said something about how everyone compares themselves on social media, but they're comparing themselves to someone's highlight reel instead of their actual life. That was super, super important. It was just a really toxic place for me, so I just had to get rid of it.
I feel it. Well, that's very, interesting to hear about, and that was a really good conversation we had, so that was great. Thanks, guys. As we're on the topic of technology, I wanted to go ahead and go on to the next thing. I kind of mentioned it in the article that I just read for you guys from Fox Business. Musk, as he is, owner of Tesla, and self-driving cars are becoming a bigger thing nowadays.
He owns Tesla, really?
Yeah. Musk is for Tesla. Yep. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts, though, on self-driving cars. It's predicted that, self-driving cars will be the norm by 2050 as it goes into the future and more electronic cars become a thing. This is going to just continue. I know Ford has been testing self-driving vehicles in Austin, Texas. They have made a new car that basically drives itself. And I just wanted, before I get into a couple of things here, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on self-driving cars. Do you think that is a good thing? Do you not want to see that going forward? Just what are your thoughts overall on it? I'll go ahead and start this time with Kasey. Kasey. No, you're good. Kasey, I'll go ahead and start with you. What's your thoughts on it?
Go, babe. Come on, this.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, you know that freeway that takes next to your house I was talking to you about?
Mm-hmm.
How the lines go off the side?
Yes, that
You're
crazy.
You're gonna die if you have a self-driving car with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, that's a no for me.
They gotta get that lines around the freeway first before you get the self-driving cars. Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of.
Sorry.
Thank you, Michael. I'm not a fan of the advanced electronics. That honestly, the thought of like self-driving cars kind of scares me. I prefer to stay a little bit more old-fashioned and have everyone else drive their own cars. You know, even though nowadays when I'm driving, people drive really, really crazy. So I honestly don't know which would be better. I remember hearing about it a while ago, and they said it would bring down the percentage of like accidents a lot. And if that were the case, I would.
That's not BS, bro. What you read?
I read somewhere.
It was a Scrabble dictionary?
No, honey. It was a couple like years ago. I remember I was talking about it like I think in high school and with our history class. And I don't know. If it were to actually like bring more safety to people, then it would be something I'd consider. But
obviously,
for the most part, I don't know. The idea of that kind of scares me. I wouldn't be into it.
We're not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Kate, I'll get your thoughts on it in a sec here, Aleeyah. But one thing I was going to say real quick is Musk has said, right now it's in terms of the safety side of things, it's about 98% safe. The problem is the other 2%, and that's why we have seen a couple of deaths that have come from testing out self-driving cars. He said that it's getting close to getting to that 99% realm, but it's still not at that 100%, and he's not sure how long or if that would ever be the case to where it would be truly 100% safe. I'll go ahead and get your thoughts on it, Aleeyah. Go ahead.
I think I don't think it's a good idea. I feel like we're just getting lazier and lazier as a generation, and like so does that mean there's no one's gonna take driving tests anymore? Are we just gonna all sit back and just let it take I don't know. I maybe I'm more like Kasey, like I'm more old fashioned. Like Kindle came out, I still read hardcover books.
Yeah.
iTunes came out, I still listen to CDs. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's getting more ridiculous, and like everybody just doesn't want to do anything for themselves anymore. And those are going to be super expensive, and I don't trust them. I don't really trust technology, so I couldn't if I could never buy one.
See, my thing is like I would be cool with it or okay with it. And I'll explain why this is going to work in a sec, but I would be okay with it if, like, it wasn't, like, mandatory where, like, people had a choice, that you could do this or you could do that. The problem is the systems in general, if everything's running on technology for self-driving cars, if not everybody's doing it, it's not going to work. And I don't want people to be mandatory forced into not being able to drive themselves or drive their own car. I just don't think that that's going to result in a successful society in general. So, like, if it was more of a choice, or if there was even, like, hybrids where people could, choose if they want to self-driving at that time, if they want to drive themselves. If we lived in a perfect world, I'd be okay with that, but we don't. So everything's either going to have to run on one system or another, and I feel much better with everything running under a system of people doing stuff themselves rather than technology doing it for them, even though there have been some studies that have come out and said that it would be safer. I just don't want to put my life in in the hands of a technology, let alone really another person. But obviously, and that's why I've only been inside a plane once. I've never actually been in the sky, even though and I'd be cool with flying, to like Hawaii and some places, but that's why, because I just don't like the idea of putting my life in someone else's hands, even though statistics do show that you are much more likely to die in a car accident than you are in a flight or under self-driving cars. I just don't feel comfortable with it personally.
I just don't think you can program the situations that are going to happen in life. I don't think you can program it to go straight and to follow this and to do this, but you never know what's going to happen. And if you don't have control like that, I don't know about y'all, but I know me and Kasey got some good anxiety going on, and if I'm not in control of my situation, especially in a car, no way.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a really quick break, and we'll be right back here with part 4 of the Liberty Hour. I have a quick part of a Forbes article I want to read on self-driving cars when we come back, and then we're going to be getting into some more issues for you guys here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with part 4, everyone.